Hare Krishna. Welcome you all on our 18th day. And today we are going to read 38 and 39 episodes. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaura Vani Pracharine Nirvishesh Sunyavadi Pahchadi Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome you all back, and thanks for putting your comments and inspiring me to read ahead. And we are actually nearly halfway now. So 38, as we seen yesterday, that how Narada Muni came and consulted to Kansa that Krishna and Balram are actually the son of Vasudeva and your death is coming very soon. So Kansa made a plan to send Akrura to Vrindavan to bring them or invite them for a wrestling war in Mathura. So now Akrura is going to Vrindavan. Akrura's arrival in Vrindavan, chapter 38. This chapter describes Akrura's trip from Mathura to Vrindavan, his meditation on Krishna and Balram along the way, and the honor of the two lords showed Akrura upon his arrival. Early in the morning, on the day after Kansa had ordered him to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura, Akrura prepared his chariot and set off for Gokul. As he travelled, he thought as follows: I am about to attain the great good fortune of seeing Sri Krishna's lotus feet, which are worshipped by Brahma, Rudra, and other demigods. Although Kansa is an enemy of the Supreme Lord and his devotee, still it is by Kansa's grace that I will get his great boon of seeing the Lord. When I first catch sight of his lotus feet, all my sinful reactions will be destroyed at once. See, when you see the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with that faith and devotion, all our sinful reactions get buried away. I will descend from my chariot and fall at the feet of Krishna's Balram. And even though I have been sent by Kansa, the omniscient Sri Krishna will certainly harbor no animosity towards me. As Akrura thus thought of to himself, he arrived in Gokula at sunset. Alighting from his chariot in the cowherd pasture, he began rolling about in the dust in great scarcity. So as soon as he arrived Gokula, he started rolling himself in the dust, because each places in Gokula and Vrindavan are being walked by Krishna and Balram barefoot. And in one of the prayers, I do not remember where it was, but Mother Earth says, Krishna is most merciful to me because I got his barefoot touch in me in Vrindavan and Mathura. Maybe in Dwarika he was in a royal, but in Vrindavan he was actually going throughout the everywhere means every nook and corner with barefoot. So then Akrura continued on to Braja. When he saw Krishna and Balram, he fell at their lotus feet, and both the lords embraced him. Afterward they brought him to their residence, inquired from him about the comfort of his trip, and honored him in various ways, offering him water for washing his feet, arghya, a seat, and so forth. So this is the way, it's learning and teaching that how we should be actually receiving the guest, offering, at least we can offer water to everyone and a nice seat to anyone. They relieved him of his fatigue by massaging his feet and served him a delicious banquet. Maharaj Nanda had honored Akrura with many sweet words. So as of now, everyone has been honoring Akrura, and that's how we end chapter 38, and we'll go on to chapter 39. Chapter 39, Akrura's vision. This chapter describes how Akrura informed Lord Krishna and Lord Balrama of Kansa's plan and activity in Mathura. What the gopis cried out in distress when Krishna left Mathura, when left for Mathura, and also the vision of Lord Vishnu's abode that Akrura saw within the water of the Yamuna. When Krishna and Balram offered Akrura great respect and comfortability, seated him on a couch, he felt that all the desires he had reflected on while traveling to Vrindavana were now fulfilled. After the evening meal, Krishna asked Akrura whether his trip had been peaceful and whether it was well. The Lord inquired about how Kansa was behaving toward their family members, and finally he asked why Akrura had come. So as of now, no one knows why Akrura has come. So Akrura described how Kansa had been persuading the Yadavas, what Narada had told Kansa, and how Kansa had been treating Vasudeva cruelly. Akrura had spoke of Kansa's desire to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura to kill them on the pretext of their seeing the bow sacrifices and engaging in a wrestling match. Krishna and Balram laughed out loud when they heard this. They went to their father Nanda and informed him of Kansa's order. Nanda then issued an order to all the residents of Braja that they should collect various offerings for the king and prepare to go to Mathura. So it's as a summary, it went very quickly that Nanda Maharaj agreed to send Krishna Balram, but there was a lot of drama. Like neither Nanda Maharaj nor the gopis, they wanted let go Krishna over there. Neither Mother Yashoda was so much crying that no, it's not good to let Krishna and Balram go toward that. And they made many plans that okay, let Krishna only go, then say okay, let not Balram go, and then all the things happened in the meanwhile. So the young gopis were extremely upset to hear that Krishna and Balram would be going to Mathura. They lost all external awareness and began to remember Krishna's pastime. Condemning the Creator for separation from them, they began to lament. They said that Akrura did not deserve his name. A means not, Krura means cruel. So they said that Akrura means he is not cruel, but he looks like he is cruel. Since he was so cruel to be taking away the dearmost Krishna, it must be that fate is against us, and they lamented in this way. Because otherwise the elders of Braja would have forbidden Krishna to live. So let us forget our shyness and try to stop Lord Madhava from going. With this word, the young cowherd girls began to chant Krishna's names and cry. But even as they wept, Akrura began taking Krishna and Balram to Mathura in his chariot. The cowherd men of Gokula followed behind on their wagons, and the young gopis also walked behind for some distance. But then they became placated by Krishna's glances and gestures and pacified by a message from him that said, I will return. With their minds completely absorbed in Krishna, the cowherd girls stood as still as figures in a painting until they could no longer see the chariot's flag or the dust cloud being raised on the road. Then, chanting Krishna's glory all the while, they despondently returned to their homes. So they were crying very much that Krishna is going away from us, and they could see the chariot as much as they could, and they were crying after that. And once they could not see the chariot or the flags of the chariot, they glorify Krishna's name and they come back to their homes. Akrura halted the chariot at the bank of the Yamuna so Krishna and Balram could perform a ritual of purification and drink some water. After the two lords had gotten back into the chariot, Akrura took their permission to bathe in the Yamuna. As he recited Vedic mantras, he was startled to see the two lords standing in the water. Akrura came out of the river and returned to the chariot, where he see the Lord still sitting. Then he returned to the water to find out if the two figures he had seen there were real or not. So a pastime here happened. Krishna and Balram, they actually showed their real form to Akrura. So as Akrura was diving inside the water to take his bath,